What is so ancient only an internet veteran can remember? We made a website with one of those free tools when I was in middle school to do some charity project. I don't recall the details, but we added a counter and set it to something like 103,476 visitors to start with, so people who managed to stumble on this website might find it legit. Then we made it increment by 10 every time a person visited, so that if they came back or refreshed the page it seemed like there was a lot of traffic. It worked well because the teachers believed it and we got a good grade. Lol. You used your powers for good. Me and my friends made a website that was nothing but a bunch of Google AdSense ads and congregated at our friend's house to take shifts clicking all of the ads, disconnecting from 56K, dialing back into 56K to establish a new IP address, click all the ads, etc. all night long. We got our payout counter up to like $450. A few days later Google called our friend's dad because it was his account. He explained the situation and Google banned him for life. Yup. We had a 1.2 kbd modem on our 8088 and my family was BB'ing like crazy. We downloaded one of the first GIFs ever made, new compressed format at the time, which was a spinning jolt soda can. Got every single Commander Keen game and many others, OMG Kingdoms of Crows. Just remembered that, you could also get these on early PC magazines that came with 5.25 inches floppy disks. We would get it every month at the mall, but people uploaded the exe to the BBSs. There was no security on anything. I was fascinated with the idea of chatting with other people and first tried it on BBSs. Me and my brother sneakily entered an adult-only BBS, not knowing why it was age-restricted, and it immediately, slowly line by line, displayed an ASCII porn image of a blowjob. We had no idea what was going on. Lol, when you logged in. Such great times at the beginning of everything. Experienced it all after that, from free trials to Prodigy, AOL, and getting a subscription to our first ever local dial-in ISP in 1995, which was run by one guy and was buggy as hell and down half the time. Like BBS's, the ISP had to provide a local number access point where you didn't have to pay long distance charges, and we lived in a tiny town where we could only call two cities of 30-50K locally, where I discovered IRC and kept using it till around 2012. Met my ex-husband over IRC, and my current husband is the real-life friend of an IRC friend since 1998, who I first met in person in 2013. One of my most vivid childhood memories is learning how to dial into a BBS with our 14.4K 386 computer with a turbo button that boosted the clock speed up to 33 MHz. I even met the admin, who called me on our rotary phone after thinking I might be a fisher because we lived on a farm so our area code didn't match our location. Turned out my mom knew him, so I got to go hang out at head office, his renovated attic stacked with random tech scraps and books. I mostly played the text MMO, Legend of the Red Dragon. It was incredible, my first RPG. I even managed to find a real live fake wife. I was also the only person I've ever met to actually beat the game after grinding away in all my spare time for months. Before I went to battle the Red Dragon, I somehow lucked upon a user expansion town and thought it might be a good idea to stash all my gear, money, etc. there in case I died. Turns out when you kill the Red Dragon, it resets the entire game, for everyone, and your name is broadcast to every player to let them know who saved the world. Thing is, my storage in the expansion town was unaffected, so to my delight I was able to grab my high-level gear and cash and quickly get back to battling the Red Dragon and resetting the world again, after of course stashing everything in the expansion town again. I beat the game like 5 times in the space of a few weeks and no one liked me anymore. Lol. I retired, satisfied at my mastery. Great game though, always thought it could be a cool modern remake. Not sure if it was popular enough to hit that nostalgia sweet spot or not, but I'd buy it on principle. Old websites written in a notepad file with basic HTML using tables for spacing/formatting and images that took forever to load. This included lower than lo-fi MIDI audio files that auto-played when the site loaded and WebRing affiliation links at the bottom of the page. People thought making a personal page look professional meant it looked like a newspaper column with a table of contents link list on the left side and traditional Roman numeral style list. Websites dedicated to sharing something someone had a passion for free. Not to track you, get your email address, subscribe to a mailing list, no ads, no cookies, no like us on Facebook, no pop-ups, just free content. Remember Microsoft Encarta Encyclopedia? It was CD-ROM encyclopedia. It was expensive but it was the shit. It showed panoramic pictures and made sound effects. At the time it was amazing. My whole family would just scroll through clicking on everything. The wholesomeness. People were excited to speak to someone from a different country. For lots of us, it was the first time ever speaking to someone from a foreign place. And the wonder you felt knowing you could communicate not only for free, but instantaneously. It opened the world up for us in a way technology never had before. Internet wasn't commonly available in France until the late 90s. And there was a sweet overlap of time before ATMs stopped printing your full card number and expiry on the receipts that most people discard. This was before they started requiring the code on the back too. There was a handy little bin next to the ATMs too where you could go and harvest a bunch of CC deets if you were so inclined. See, this is the shit I was hoping to hear about. Everybody knows about AIM or Angel Fire or whatever. This is the juicy early internet stuff that I need to know more about. Early cybercrime is so crazy to imagine, before any safeguards were in place. If you think that's bad, back in the 80s credit cards used to be processed by putting it in a machine that essentially made a copy of the credit card's information using a carbon slip, and then they'd throw the carbon out, which would have all the card info imprinted on it. You just go dumpster diving after the store closed, and, if it was a busy day and you really searched, you could get hundreds of carbons with all the information needed to fraudulently buy stuff. Though I'd imagine most people grabbed 4 or 5 and got the hell out before someone noticed them. It was a little tricky because you'd have to mail order stuff and you couldn't risk using the same information more than once. There was much less monitoring for fraud then, so you'd almost always be able to get away with it once. You'd be talking to a human to order, so had to stay cool and couldn't stumble over the information or make them suspect anything was up. You never, ever sent something to your home, always a nearby house you knew was safe. Either occupants were on vacation or you otherwise knew you could get to the delivery before they could. Can't use the same address too much or you might get caught, as the police might start watching it if there's a lot of illegal activity going on. I never did it, but read tons of text files from local BBC talking about how to. I always wanted to try it but was way too terrified of getting caught to even attempt it. Not having any social media, YouTube, forums, Google, Amazon, corporate store sites, etc. Just random user-created fan websites of all text and few pictures. Web browsers were so ineffective you mostly found places to go by following links from other pages. It was just information. No one tried to sell you anything. Back when my default search engine was AltaVista. TV networks had websites with actually cool games on them: Nick Arcade, CN PowerPlay, Disney Game Downloads, Web Game Portals, Miniclip, Shockwave, Com, Culebox, eZone, 3D Groove, Primary Games. Also, game download sites: Real Arcade, Big Fish Games, Try Games, Oberon Games, Wild Tangent, Boonty Games, Yahoo Games. I really liked video games. Can you blame me? They were free. Well, for 60 minutes at least. Turning down the computer speakers before clicking on a new website, not knowing if you're about to have your heart stopped by a 6,000 decibel MIDI version of Fur Elise. Downloading multiple copies of an Eminem song on the off chance that one of them was actually the full, unedited Eminem song, and leaving the computer overnight to complete the download because it could take days. This basically turned all your hard drives into mush, but did you learn? No.